Hello, Adelante, third grade. We heard you're going on a field trip to Stanford, so we wanted to put together a little movie to help you learn more about the university before you go. Listen carefully so you can answer the questions. Have fun, and go Stanford.
You are now standing in front of the main quad, the university's very first buildings and closely associated with Stanford's founding and history. Stanford's official name is Leland Stanford Junior University, as it was named for Leland Stanford Jr., the son of Leland Stanford Sr. and Jane Lathrop Stanford, who owned the land for the Palo Alto stock farm on which the university now sits. Leland Stanford Sr. was a well-known businessman and politician, serving as president of the Central Pacific Railroad, an advisor to the Lincoln administration, and governor of and U.S. Senator from California. Leland Jr., the Stanford's only child, was born in 1868. While on a family vacation in Europe in 1884, Leland Jr. contracted typhoid fever and died in Florence, Italy, a few weeks before his 16th birthday. Almost immediately after his death, the Stanfords determined that, because they no longer could do anything for their own child, they would use their wealth to do something for other people's children. In November 1885, the Stanfords signed the grant founding and endowing the Leland Stanford Junior University. Among other stipulations, the grant dictated that the university would, from the outset, be coeducational, non-sectarian, and open to all people regardless of background. The main quad was constructed as the university's first complex of academic buildings, its layout designed by landscape architect Frederick Law Olmsted, who created New York's Central Park. The Oval is considered the iconic entrance to the Stanford campus, as it lines up with the center of the main quad and serves as the endpoint for Palm Drive, the mile-long street lined by 150 palm trees that connects the campus to the neighboring town of Palo Alto. The Oval is a popular place for outdoor studying, as well as pickup games of soccer, volleyball, and frisbee. While walking around campus, you are likely to see a number of red and white buses. These are part of our free shuttle bus system, which provides transportation both on and around campus. Called Marguerite, it is named after one of the horses that used to pull the carriage transporting Stanford's first students onto campus from the train station in Palo Alto. Of course, you are likely to see some of the estimated 13,000 bicyclists making their way across campus. The centerpiece of the main quad is certainly Memorial Church, as a memorial to Jane Stanford's recently deceased husband, and it became her pet project. "While my whole heart is in the university," she said, "my soul is in that church." The project took a full 10 years, and the church was dedicated in 1903. If there are no events occurring in the church, you are welcome to enter. The mosaic on the front facade depicts Christ blessing the people, at its time of construction, the single largest mosaic in the country. The large stained glass windows inside depict scenes from the New Testament, except for the first, rightmost window, which depicts Leland Stanford Jr. being carried to heaven by an angel, shaped like a cross. It houses 4 organs, with 8,034 pipes combined. Stanford has been non-sectarian since its founding, and Memorial Church is non-denominational. It is also a very popular spot for weddings, where over 150 are held annually for Stanford affiliates, a perk of being associated with the university.
If you look down at your feet while standing outside of Memorial Church, you may be wondering what the golden diamonds with the numbers represent. With the university opening its doors in 1891, the pioneer class, that is, the first class to have spent all 4 years at Stanford, was the class of 1895. The students were obviously quite proud of this distinction, and were eager to show their pride to the rest of the student body. But the question arose of how to do this. Well, the night before graduation, the class of 95 went into Palo Alto and bought all of the red paint and all of the paintbrushes that they could find. They then proceeded to paint giant red 95s across the entire campus, on the walls, the floors, the ceilings. In fact, the university president's cow only narrowly escaped getting a giant 95 painted on its side. As expected, university administrators were less than enthusiastic about the idea of each graduating class painting their year across the entire university. But the next class, the class of 96, was equally proud of being one of Stanford's first classes, and they too wanted to demonstrate their pride to the rest of the student body. In a slightly more dignified celebration of their graduation, they decided to place a plaque right in the center of the quad, which is why they got the coveted location directly in front of Memorial Church. You'll notice that the plaques for 1906 and 1907 are fused together. As one of the many consequences of the 1906 San Francisco earthquake, the class of 1906 was unable to graduate that year and returned the following year to graduate alongside the class of 1907, hence joining of their class plaques.
Of Green Library, the centerpiece of the university's library system. Overall, the Stanford Library System contains over 8 million volumes and provides access to world-class research tools and resources. The west wing of Green Library was badly damaged in an earthquake in 1989, and after 10 years of renovation and retrofitting, it reopened in 1999 as the Bing Wing, painstakingly restored to reflect the library's original 1919 grandeur. A favorite reading room in the Bing Wing is the Lane Reading Room, located on the second floor, which serves as a beautiful reading space for students.
Dedicated in 1936, Memorial Auditorium, or MEMAUD for short, was built as a memorial to Stanford students and faculty who lost their lives in World War I. Its construction was funded largely through student contributions. The main theater seats approximately 1,700 people and serves as Stanford's primary venue for drama productions and guest speakers. Some past speakers include former Pakistan President Pervez Musharraf, Google co-founder and Stanford graduate degree recipient Larry Page, the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., and the Dalai Lama. Across the street from Memorial Auditorium is Hoover Tower. At 285 feet, the tower is the tallest building on campus and one of its most recognizable landmarks. Hoover graduated from Stanford in 1895 and, before becoming the 31st President of the United States in 1929, founded the institution as part of a larger set of humanitarian efforts after World War I. The tower itself, however, was not completed until 1941 and serves as the library for the Hoover Institution. The first 9 floors hold approximately 1.6 million volumes and over 2.5 miles of shelving. A few offices are located above the library, and the 14th floor observation platform affords a panoramic view of the Stanford campus and surrounding San Francisco Bay Area. If you are on campus, we highly recommend that you check out the view from the top, as well as the 48-bell carillon donated in 1939 by Belgium to Herbert Hoover in gratitude for his support of Belgium's post-World War I reconstruction.
Stanford works hard to ensure a smooth transition from home life to college life for every student, and this effort begins in the freshman dorms. Each freshman is paired with a roommate after completing a housing preference form in the spring before their arrival. All of our freshman residence halls include a staff of upper-class students, a resident computer consultant, a resident tutor, and a peer health educator, somewhat like a college version of the school nurse. Each dorm also has several resident assistants and a resident fellow, who is a faculty or staff member who has an apartment attached to the dorm. All of these people form a support team for our students during their first year here on the farm.
The business school is one of 7 schools at Stanford University, in addition to the schools of humanities and sciences, earth sciences, engineering, law, medicine, and education. 1893, when the university engaged its first 2 law professors. One was Benjamin Harrison, former President of the United States, who delivered a landmark series of lectures on the Constitution. Notably, the law department enrolled many students who might not have been welcome at more traditional law schools at the time, including women and Hispanic, Chinese, and Japanese students. The original Stanford Stadium was completed in 1921 and was host to several women's soccer World Cup matches, Super Bowl 19, and, of course, was the home of Stanford football for 85 years. The new Stanford Stadium, finished in fewer than 11 months after the 2005 season, holds approximately 50,000 fans at capacity and is among the premier football venues in the nation. White Plaza serves as the unofficial hub of on-campus student activities. In the center of White Plaza is White Memorial Fountain, affectionately known as the Claw, a free-form sculpture executed in bronze by the San Francisco sculptor Aristides Demetrios. It is one of the 25 fountains on campus and is often the center of a popular and slightly quirky Stanford tradition called fountain hopping. It is not uncommon, especially during the warmer fall and spring quarters, to see Stanford students running through the fountain, splashing each other, then getting out and running through some of the other fountains on campus. The Stanford Bookstore is located to the right of the Claw as you face White Plaza. Next to the bookstore is the Stanford Post Office. Because Stanford is its own municipality, it has its own post office, as well as its own police station, fire department, and 2 zip codes. Old Union, located on the other side of the fountain, was the original student union and was recently renovated with new space dedicated exclusively to students and student groups. Old Union and nearby buildings house the ethnic and cultural centers, including El Centro Chicano, the Black Community Services Center, Asian American Activities Center, Native American Student Center, the Women's Center, and the LGBT Center.
Approximately 2 blocks down Palm Drive, on the left-hand side, is the Cantor Arts Center. The center presents art in 24 galleries plus sculpture gardens, terraces, and courtyards. Its diverse collections, which began as a repository for artifacts collected by Leland Stanford Jr. before his death, span 5,000 years and the world's cultures and number some 30,000 objects, including the largest collection of Rodin bronzes outside Paris. We encourage you to make the Cantor Center a stop on your campus visit. Admission is free.